press conference. Saved by the chairman's grace. That's fine. He's in a good mood today, or else. Thank you, Temba. But do put it on silent mode, please.
It's on flight mode.
Even better. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce the chairman of Orlando Pirates Football Club, Dr. Evan Kos. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Sister Lee. Members of the media, morning everybody. This is not a normal day for all of us at Orlando Pirates Football Club. Thank you for responding to our invitation for this press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, Mondays are days we return to work, and those of school-going age to class. For soccer supporters and fans, Mondays are days when some rejoice the victory of the teams they support, whereas others lick their wounds. This usually happens in a peaceful environment, since this is, after all, a beautiful game. Today is different. We meet under circumstances where we are going to address a matter that should not arise at our matches. Violence has no place in our football. No matter how strong we feel, no matter how aggrieved we are, when we engage in violence, it defeats the legitimacy of our feelings and grievances. Violence is not an answer. Violence is not an answer. Violence diminishes your reasons, no matter how good they are. Now we are talking about violence and not the reasons why you stood up from your seat. Whether it be out of frustration, resignation, or legitimate protest, once it becomes violent, all the reasons diminish, even if they are good or legitimate. Violence in sport, especially football, has got a name around the world. It is called hooliganism. When you participate in violence in sport, you are a hooligan. Today could not be business as usual after Saturday's horrific scenes of violence at a game where two of South Africa's teams that ought to have shined each other's stars on the other had their first encounter since Mamelodi Sundowns and their African Championship star reduced to scenes that have no place in our beautiful game. We therefore have a duty and obligation to answer key questions about this anomaly. I call it an anomaly because it ought not to have happened. There is no place for violence in our society. There is no time that it is justified. When it happens, we should pause, determine its cause, and root it out with no fear or favor. So key questions number one is, what is Orlando Pirates Football Club's position on the perpetrators of Saturday's acts of violence? I pronounce here today that the club's unequivocal, clear, plain, and unambiguous position is for the law to take its course. Thank God to our democracy, there is a specific law governed by the Act SASRIA, the Safety at Sports and Recreation Events Act, which quote, the Act provides for measures to safeguard the physical well-being and safety of persons and property at sports, recreational, religious, cultural, exhibitional, organizational, or similar events held at stadiums, venues, or along a route to provide for the accountability of the event role players, to provide for certain prohibitions, to provide for the risk categorization of events, to provide for the establishment of measures to deal with safety and security at events, to provide for accreditation of role players at events, to provide for events ticketing, to provide for the control of access of spectators and vehicles at events, to provide for the issuing of safety certificates for planned or existing stadiums or venues, to provide for the contents of safety certificates and amendments to safety certificates, to provide for appointment of inspectors and their powers of entry and inspection, to provide for the deployment of security services, to provide for the spectator exclusion notices, to provide for prohibition notices, to provide for the establishment of an appeal board and for appeals, to provide for public liability insurance for events, to provide for payment of fees, to provide for offenses and penalties, and to provide for matters connected therewith. I commit that this matter will receive the highest priority in accordance with the law. A failure to do so will result in a deterioration that will affect the following of football: the sponsors, the broadcasters, and the public in ways that will erode the gains we have made and should defend bitterly. The second key question is the question of performance by the club. A 6-1 loss by the club of the Statue of Orlando Pirates is unacceptable. For that to be followed by a 6-0 loss is rubbing salt into a wound. Having said that, I maintain that violence is not the answer. This afternoon, we'll be meeting with the technical team to go to the bottom of the problem. There's no denying there is a problem. It is not an easy task to find a coach for the team of the Statue of Orlando Pirates Football Club. When we have found a coach, the pressure on them is enormous. This is the reason why when we lose a coach, we look to an insider in an attempt to add stability until the replacement is found. It has worked in the past. It is proving to be a challenge this time around. Unfortunately, the candidate identified as promised that by the end of January we're going to announce of the head coach position is in contract at another club. And it happened that, when we were negotiating at the end of January, there was a buyout clause for the next 5 months, which was prohibitive. We cannot therefore reveal any information at this stage, but what I can give the guarantee to this meeting that next week, Monday, because of what has happened, we're going to be announcing the new coach. We'd hoped that at the end of January would have been available, but as I said, the buyout clause was the problem. Thirdly, let me preempt the question about the investigation relating to the incident involving our previous coach, Machine, Etukal, and player Jima. The player has been to the African Cup of Nations. The investigation will therefore be concluded now that he has returned. I would like to conclude by reiterating our pledge, a pledge that we took on the 6th of December 2001. We took this pledge at a time in our society when the challenge of violence, specifically against women and children, forced us to pause and take stock. Our pledge continues to stand today as his last paragraph is particularly relevant given the incidents of Saturday at Loftus Versfeld. We at Orlando Pirates recognize that women are the base and children are the future of our society. That violence against women and children is like waging a war on ourselves as a nation. We at Orlando Pirates therefore pledge to be vocal and speak out against violence targeted at women and children, to be exemplary through our deeds and serve as role models, to be supportive to women and children affected by violence. Like Menas once did, violence is now shaping and obsessing our society. If we do not stop it, it will stop us, and our children will have a bleak future. At this stage, I would like us to rise and observe a moment of silence for the 17 supporters that lost their lives as a result of the stampede at football match in Angola. May we rise, please, people of the media. May their souls repose peacefully. Thank you. I'm ready to take questions. The first one, BBK.
BBK Sunday Times. Thankfully, there was no loss of life on Saturday. You say that you commit that this matter will receive the highest priority in accordance with the law. Does this mean that Orlando Pirates will avail its branches to assist the law enforcers to capture the culprits who put South African football in this disgraceful, disgusting position on Saturday?
I think when I invoke the Sasria Act, which I think it has not been used effectively, but I must first hasten to thank the police that have opened an investigation, and I also hope that they'll get the support of SABC and the SuperSport. That is important that that footage is used to identify the people. If we're asked to help, we'll help. But you understand the challenge sometimes, we've got supporters and fans, some known to us, some unknown to us. So therefore, wherever we are able to assist, we'll do everything to cooperate with the investigation, because this matter at this point is a matter that resides with the league. And more importantly, if you read the Sports Act, this game was categorized as a medium game. And it means also the issue of the overall responsibility, where does it lies. So that's why I'm saying that it's difficult for me to make a full kind of comment, because those issues are going to be dealt with in accordance with the categorization of the game, who was overall responsible, whether that responsibility for investigating further is going to take the route of the police or the route of the league, depending who was responsible in terms of the categorization of this game.
Mr. Chairman, what steps were put in place on Wednesday night at Orlando Stadium to ensure this doesn't happen again? And the other question being, who will be in charge of the team? Will Palacio be in charge, or the two assistants?
Palacio will be in charge of the game. Obviously, every game is determined by the categorization, because if it's a low-risk game, it requires a certain level of security. If it's a B and a higher category, it requires a very, very interesting involvement at different level altogether, and a certain specific number of securities. More importantly, also for the exigencies or perhaps contingency, depending on the lie of the stadium, on the safety of the stadium, on the anticipated, because you might have categorized the game to be taking 10,000, 20,000, and you get 30,000 people. So it requires that there must be also a contingency plan to take care of all those kind of eventualities. So for us, we'll wait until we get a certificate what is the categorization of that game, and we're going to act in accordance to that categorization of the game.
Chairman, David Kikana from SABC. Chairman, there's been a lot of allegations, whether paper, TV, going around, that has really changed the narratives among people. I mean, we know what happened and the despicable manner with which the fans acted. But the issue comes from the narrative. How does the chairman change the narrative within the people, and to inculcate in people that the chairman is still the man in charge of Orlando Pirates? And how do you change the narrative to make sure that the name of Orlando Pirates is not being besmirched?
Well, I don't know what it means the chairman is in charge. Because, I don't know what must I do, because for all the years the chairman, is wearing too many hats. The chairman delegated, and I've delegated responsibly to make sure that everybody does his work. So that, I must just, relieve myself of the pressure of a one-stop shop. Because you've called me at some point a one-stop shop, and I was effective then. Because I know that football is just not, a 2-hour job. It's a 26-hour job. You follow up, you follow up, you follow up, you follow up, follow up. So I guess, if you are saying to me, the people that are being categorized or designated, to do their job are not doing their job, I need to do that investigation. If not, they must step aside, get effective people. to just, to deal with the issues of the narrative.
Musibudi White at Kaya FM. Chairman, on the issue of the categorization of the game and the security personnel, your thoughts perhaps on their performance during the game, because there were some reports that they abandoned their posts, some of the security, and threw their bibs away. Your thoughts, please, Chairman.
Well, I can't comment at this point because it's a matter that is under investigation. Because, like I said, that the categorization of that game, was a medium categorization as per what we got as a report, which requires certain, involvement at a certain level. Therefore, it's only when the reports are out, then we're able, as a club, we have asked for the reports to be furnished to us, because we need to respond also in case, we are asked to respond. We are asking that they must be furnished so that you are able to deal with these issues that you are raising, which we have somehow picked up also, that some people have abandoned, their post. So I don't have, full information. It's what I've picked up also in the corridors. So I think officially I must wait for the reports. If they give me that sense, I'll be able to respond accordingly. Now I'm talking as Paris chairman. Yeah, and I want to respond as Paris chairman on this matter.
Chairman Nandi Shabalala from eNCA. I am curious to know, as chairman of both the Orlando Pirates Football Club and the PSL, what kind of sanctions is the club expecting from the PSL? And does a situation like this lead to a situation where we could see games being played behind closed doors to avoid something like this happening again?
I think now that you are saying I'm chairman of Pirates in the league, I must not even make a comment, because that matter resides with the DC. Or influencing the outcome of the tribunal. So I think I must desist and protect myself. You must protect me. To say I must not make a comment on that one, because it might put me in an ambiguous position.
I'm here, Chairman. Oh, I've got the mic, you've got the hand.
Okay.
All right. Chairman, Temba Shabalala from Joseph. I just wanted to find out the emotional side. Chairman, you are the chairman of both. Just to add on what David has asked, both Orlando Pirates and the PSL. How much strain does it bring to you as a chairman of both, that you haven't had to somehow punish yourself after incidents like this? And what is your message to all the Pirates people who are impatient out there about the matters of the club?
Nothing can justify any action that is to do with violence. Obviously, I don't like to lose. But football is football. Arsenal were beaten 7-1. Nobody expected that. Barcelona was Brazil was beaten 7 by Germany in the World Cup. We're still when you're celebrating 8 years. But maybe it's a time for reflection. Because I've learned in my life that, when you are faced with trials and tribulation, what lesson are you learning? Because it gives an opportunity for self-direction and self-correction. So there's a positive in what has happened, to do an introspection. Sometimes we are lenient to ourselves sometimes. So maybe this this season has given us a chance to reflect. So, and that is why I cannot, bury my head in the sand and say, man, why me? Where should it happen to? So it's for me to say, what lesson am I learning? And I'm busy with the lessons to be learned and corrective measures that need to be taken to move forward. Because, it's been very good for us for the last couple of years. But if it happened this way, it means there's something that we need to correct. And if you need to correct, let's correct it. So I'm facing it, with that positive, approach. Because I was told when I was young, attending a Sunday school, that when you get sick or you face trial and tribulation, God is responsible. It doesn't sound normal, eh? Am I right? Because it sounds funny, but they said to us when we were young, God is responsible. And that time, God now requires you to go for a personal prayer, so we have time with Him. But if at the football side, it says introspection and deal with the reality, with the truths. and find out a solution. So there's a time for us, to find that kind of space and deal with the truth and come up with a solution.
Okay, Chairman, Velila from SABC. I'm asking you, this one is one of the club chairmen in the league. We've had these pitch invasions for some time now, and years back when they stopped charging the clubs, and those were valid reasons that sometimes you would have cheaper playing chiefs, and the fans were coming onto the pitch are not cheaper fans. We had some similar cases even at Dobson Stadium with Sundowns fans. Do you think maybe it's high time that we go and revisit this issue of pitch invasions, even though, yes, there are these challenges in terms of pointing out which fans are starting this?
Let me not comment, Velile, because this matter is debatable. Now, sometimes you charge a club when it's got no responsibility, no role to play, in the security plan. Now, it becomes unfair, to say, how do you charge, And that's why, it's a question of, participating in the security plan so that you sign to it, meaning that, we are responsible for whatever consequences. And that's why I don't want to justify anything at this point. And that's why I said, let's wait for the outcome of the report. Because, the sports SASRIA gives a provision also as a deterrent, because if ever it's applied to the fullest, it gives right to say the footage identify these people must be charged, these people must be banned. It has never happened in this country. Now that's why in the UK you don't easily find disturbance inside the stadium. Have you noticed that? Because if you are a culprit, you take full responsibility yourself. But here, if you know that you've got something to hide behind, you've got the liberty of doing whatever. So that needs to be addressed, and I think its time has come that we need to address it. But at the same time also, in terms of, the presence of the security inside the stadium, it must be understood what is their role, when they are discharged with that responsibility in terms of the posting. And other security people, what is their role? So I can't just pronounce now, because everybody's got a role to play. That this matter can mitigate it, than what it has happened on Saturday. But I guess let's wait and see what happens, because I've got a case to answer as Pirates, so I must not just start discussing and pleading for mercy, whatever answer I give. But it begs the question to say, I think it's very important to help educate our supporters that there are avenues where, because if we don't do that, it becomes also a way of life in our country. I think we need to try and hold hands and say, but you don't resolve issues through violence, because we won't get answers. Now we are creating a culture that is going to eat us up. It's self-sustaining, it's feeding. Now from the stadium to your workplace, to the churches, to schools, to funerals, to the mortuaries, I don't want to say where also. No, I don't want to say that. You are saying that, I want to say that.
PBK Sunday Times again.
I think, why don't you keep that gentleman?
Fair enough.
The first one, then you come back.
That's good.
That gentleman there.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. It's Katlejo from Power FM. Chairman, what do you make of the fact that when the fence broke over, security guys ran away, leaving the players exposed? As the PSL, do you know of any training that these security personnel that are deployed, that they get, to be at the games?
No, I'm talking as chairman of Pirates today. I can't answer that one, sir.
Okay, Chairman. And then the players, how are they, are they rattled by this? Because there were reports that Opa Manyisa was also assaulted by the fencers. Is everything okay from that point?
Not to our knowledge. I know that, our coach was a little bit of shock. He died a little, but he's all right. He's at the training today. I don't know whether I was dying a little or psychosomatic. I don't know.
Javelin from the Star. Chairman, how does the club move away from what happened on Saturday on and off the field? And you spoke about the fact that the club is going to announce the coach on Monday, and you touch about the bar clause. Does it start on Monday, or will it start at the end of the season?
Well, announce at the appropriate time. The bar clause is the coach that we had preferred Now that we are fast tracking everything, because we can see that we cannot wait for May, to make sure to stabilize the team. The coach we had wanted, and as we promised, that we were going to announce the coach, in January. That was our promise. Now that this thing has happened, now I must say why we have delayed, in announcing that coach. Because unfortunately, now we are told last minute that there's a buyout clause. It's only available in May. So May is too far. So it's important to stabilize the team and provide the coach and also certainty in the team. You're saying?
Does that mean that you'll be getting a different man than to the one that you had thought you'd get?
I've got no option.
Chairman, Tsapang from Sowetan newspaper. A lot of the
your name?
Tsapang.
Tsapang. Tsapang.
A lot of the time, the blame goes to the coach when results are not going well. Just do you feel that the players also need to take some of the blame for this and maybe pull up their socks because it hasn't been a good season?
I'm giving a meeting tomorrow with the whole team. Interesting enough, I had a meeting just before we came back, for this new year. And I had a full meeting, on the 3rd of February with the whole technical team, where I was discussing the mid-season report, making sure that their roles and responsibilities, as I understand them, they must also just explain to me the issues that are arising out of the data that we've collected around the players. And for your information, I had meetings with the player one-on-one. I've just already had a meeting with Opa Manyesa, Jele, Tawamataba. I've been having meetings, Kusa. So I've been having meetings with them because that's a routine. To try to understand, what are the issues. And tomorrow we're having another meeting. Because, the last time you remember after the Super Sport game, they said, no, maybe the players was a go-slow because of the coach. And we said, no, let's wait for the report to tell us what are the issues. So tomorrow, I'm dealing with some of the issues that, will assist me. Whether it's got anything to do with the players, or perhaps, it's to do with, the temporary coach, or is to do with other issues that are outside influences. And I know that, one of my players, yesterday, there was a burglar at his house. He used a gun to scare off, those burglars. Now, see, these are the issues that we never get to know, how they affect these players. What was the cause of that? It was just, burglary, criminality, or what was it? I don't know. Of the pitch issues, I don't know. So all those issues, I'll be dealing with them tomorrow. And other issues that, I've raised with the players, to make sure that we understand that there are no excuses on the side of the players. Because like I say, usually when there's success, we're always forgotten, that we exist. Oh, the players done very well. The coaches done very well. If the team loses, chairman explain. Oh, man, I never get, leave the players alone, they must celebrate their success. They don't say, chairman, take the trophy and get the success. So it's only this time like this when there's a funeral I must speak. But that's the nature of the sport. That's why Institute Bari Murane Khiziyama said. Yeah, it's a sweet expression that says that. But if you are a king, everything the buck stops with you. In English. So it sounds different, eh? Am I right? Am I right? No, madam must confirm. On the mic, confirm. Give me a mic so that I must not say I'm insulting. Am I right, madam?
You are right, Chairman.
Thank you
right.
very much. That's a Sotho saying, and I'm not Sotho, but I know that's what it says, But in English, the buck stops here. You see the difference? The buck stops here. In Sotho, Khetsia Massive. Yes. So, BBK, the answer.
BBK again. Chair, losing 6-1 and 6-0 for a club of Orlando Pirates' stature is unacceptable in your words. You've also indulged us about the fact that you are trying to find the reality and the truth. In Ivan Khoza's mind, what is the reality now? And what truth do you want to find, in light of the fact that you did have a meeting with the players and the technical team on the 4th of Feb, and you're also going to have another one on the 14th of February. Deep down in your core, if you look back to the 75th anniversary of Orlando Pirates and the success that was there, and these 6-0s and 6-1s happening in the 80th anniversary of Orlando Pirates, in your core, what do you feel and what is the truth and the reality in your mind?
Well, I can't have the truth in my mind. I must have the truth based on the facts that some of them I want to establish tomorrow. Then I'm going to answer a question, because I'll have to answer that question. But again, I say, with humility, that sometimes things like this, when they happen, they give you a chance to reflect. Because unfortunately, this work, requires answers, all the time running. Sometimes there's things that make you to stop and reflect. It does not only happen to this team. It's happened in a lot of teams in the league. Some of the teams, they've gone 7 years without a win, it was as worse as this. But also as big as we are still, it must also happen to us. Because when you say there's death, you can't say what might not happen in the next door. It must also happen in your house. When it's in your house, how you reflect. Because it's nice to go to other people, when it's your funeral, you don't want to take it. Because whenever people are dead, you go and sing there and they condole the people. But when it's you don't want to accept. So we must accept and say, what must I do going forward? So I'll have to come back to you after my meeting, because there are a few issues that are on my mind, which I want to deal with them tomorrow.
So we have an appointment on Thursday?
No. I must give the benefit of that. Why you want to wait for Monday? You want to do for Sunday paper? Oh, because it's your question. Okay. Nyamuza Moto.
Mr. Chairman, it's Chad from Kickoff. Yeah. Mr. Chairman, there's obviously been a lot of speculation around the new coach, and there's been a few names that has been mentioned, but we've never actually heard of. I think we all know the technical director is also a former Bafana coach. Have you ever approached him or considered him for the job, and would he be interested in coaching the team perhaps while you wait for your preferred candidate at all?
Well, he has never made known his interest to me. By the way, every night I have dinner with him. Every night, except Saturdays and Sundays. Every night I have dinner with him. He has never made mention to me. So I can't answer that one. Because he's got the privilege of being close to me. So maybe in the passages, in the corridors, he has said that, but he has never said it to me.
Chairman Morena from 702, you mentioned that when you've delegated responsibilities to people in your management and they don't do that job, they should step aside. With the meeting that's coming tomorrow with the players, and you find the issues perhaps have anything to do with the technical team or the players, would you then, exercise that kind of, sternness, I suppose, on the players, and would they then have to step aside, or the technical team steps aside if you find that the issues have to do with them?
It's only fair.
Chairman, Ola Rati from Elders FM Sports.
Are you taking a selfie now?
Sorry, Chairman. Just wanted to establish, in moving forward now, by the fact that what has happened, in moving forward, what is the focal point now in terms of making sure that there are measures put in place, considering the fact that there's a game tomorrow against Vets? Has there been any form of communication from the support bases as far as the fans are concerned to instill calm and maintain calm? I just wanted to find out what is the focal point in moving forward into tomorrow's game and future games, or Wednesday's game and future games. Obviously, considering the fact that we're also still waiting for the report, which might take some time. But as far as Wednesday is concerned, what are the kind of suitable measures put in place to make sure that calm is instilled?
I know that, all of us, especially Pirates supporters, we're used to winning. And we've got a history that we need to protect, but it should not be at all cost. We have now realized that the league has changed. The league is different now. Unfortunately, it happens under my watch as chairman of the league, which I'm very much happy, because one of the two leagues in the world where you get this unpredictability. When we started in the reposition of the PSL in 1986, not everybody was aware that, what are we hoping to achieve. And at that time, they say we're daydreaming. And I'm happy today that, that has been justified by the unpredictability of the results. And that's why the UK EPL, is exciting, like the PSL is exciting. But it's only 2 leagues where you can get the top team beaten by a small team, or small teams beating, middle of the table team, or big teams giving this kind of a trapping. It has happened, Arsenal and, was it Manchester United? 7-1? Yes. Yeah. So it happened, but you don't find it easy, in other leagues. Because there, to find only 2 teams, are predictable. In a short space of time, the league has been won by different teams, in the last 10 years or whatever. And that is why, for us, with the supporters must know that if they've got issues, they've got platforms, of where they vent, their frustration. What we're only discouraging, that as much as also we don't plan to fail, we don't plan to go and lose in the stadium. We do our best to go and win. And the thing just collapse sometimes. Whether it's issues of player, concentration, or whether issues of lack of proper preparation, or whether it's the issues of the heat, or whether it's the issue of whatever. But obviously, there always a reason for losing. But it's important to take that with stride. But more importantly, that we've inculcated a culture in South Africa on our derby, where 2 of these 2 teams, they sit and mix, which is the first of its kind in the world. Now, that cannot assist us, because I remember when, we started, the Vodacom Challenge. We did that when there was inter-Nissan that was happening in KwaZulu-Natal. And we sat down with my colleague to say, what can we do to stave off this unfolding, dying of people, where most of them are supporters. And we came up with that kind of a situation, which culminated in the people sitting among each other to avoid this tension. So this violence, it cannot take us there. You can't go back there. We have proven to the world that we've got solutions for serious problems. I don't think that, we cannot be matured enough, to be able, when we have lost, channel our frustration elsewhere. We are easy now because we've got social media, unlike we did have before. You want to insult us as much as you can in the social media. We'll accept, because there are no ethics there. Here, for the state, the ethics governing how you report. There you can say whatever you want to say. It's fine. But if you resort to violence, it makes it difficult for us to be able to listen or even to address you. Because we don't know whether addressing the normal people or addressing hooligans. So immediately you do that, you are saying to us, you don't reserve our dignity, our respect to address you. But we go on as business as usual to prepare for the game and do all what is necessary to make sure that, we do our protection. Because sometimes people, they overstep when you show respect. Respect is a very important thing. So don't allow people to remove their respect. So I think, having supporters that are respectful, they know what the right thing to do. So sometimes some people, because of the bragging rights, and I know that some of them were told, they were intimating that thing by Friday in Radio Metro. There's some that were mentioning something. So you can imagine that, somebody was saying, man, I want to do this. Because with this social media of yours, now everybody wants to create his own film. I saw a film of our friend, Mr. Nyoni, of Perfect Wedding. It was quite interesting when I look at that video. He's talking to this date, and he says things, and somebody comes on the side, there's a child, said, it can't be true. He said, no, I'm English, I'm British. And the little child says, it can't be true. It's its own movie. So sometimes people are doing this thing, they're creating their own movie. Maybe it's a sign of times, I don't know. But I guess, football has got its own culture, and obviously, we need to try and maintain it. Because I think because the challenge in this country, the sponsors, they want to play in a modicum of comfort. That's it, they're going to associate with, stability, which we have ensured for a long time. So if we go back where we don't want to go to, then it makes it difficult for us, to go into our business. So maybe this is the last time now, Tandy, because, we...
This is my last, Chairman. I know you accepted with a heavy heart the resignation of Mukshin Etogran when you announced subsequent to his departure. Let's go back to Augusto Palacios as a firefighter, somebody who comes in, things are bad, and he cleans up. We'll go back to the Pembring Stadium some years back. Remember 3-1 loss to Hellenic and the Chairs at Pembring Stadium, and juxtapose it to the incidences at Loftus. What does it say now as, with the role that Palacios has played as a firefighter from the chairman?
Yeah, but don't forget that you won the league, just not two seasons.
Yes, I know. You brought him back and you won the league.
So that thing doesn't carry then, because he won the league, in fact 2 leagues, I think 2 cups, as a stabilizer. So let's not play the man.
Chairman. Lastly, in reflecting, as you say, you're going to meet with the players, will you also perhaps be meeting with former Pirates legends? Because some of them have suggested in the public space that maybe this young group of players don't necessarily understand the team culture in the way that even when you lose, you need to lose with dignity. Palacios himself, after the 2-1 loss to Bloemfontein Celtic, said the players didn't have hunger and they didn't deserve to wear the jersey. So will you be calling them into your deliberations?
We cannot have a better legend than Benson Mhlong. Cannot have a better one than Benson Mhlong. I say you will never have a better one than Benson Mhlong. In fact, this morning I was phoned by one legend, and he asked permission from me to talk to 2 players. But he's got unfettered access because he's got history in this club. This morning, I said to him, no problem. We don't need permission really from the chairman. You're part of the club. You can meet the players, invite them for tea and talk to them. Now this legend of ours, the legend of ours, this morning, I won't mention the name.
Chairman, my 2 questions are related to these 2 questions that have just been asked now. Because since he came on, Professor Augusto, in November, he's been complaining about issues of discipline and also players not respecting the pitch. Is this something that has reached you? And also, I remember the last time we were here, where you were talking about the resignation of Mr. Etogran, but there had been no reasons by then. Did he provide you with the reasons? Because I understand that you met after that.
You said Palacios is a professor. He's a professor. If you are a professor, it means there's no problem that is above you. And I'm disappointed if ever, is punting that narrative. Because he should be the one, as because we end up auditing you also. Because as a coach, that's your responsibility to assist us, to understand, because you are an insider. You've been there for some time, you're an insider. So go and help us, because you're closer to the players. So don't come about reasons that are going to justify maybe your shortcomings, maybe. So I can't buy that one. So it's a nice, easy way for him to watch if he said that, unfortunately. You see, there's one problem, in South Africa. Everybody is good on hindsight. Now, I'm listening sometimes the commentators, when they say the selection is there, they say nothing. After the game, they come up with all the reasons. I said, but why didn't you tell us before the game started? Now, I always ask for a pre-match plan. How are you going to win the game? So that when they do the post-match report, I must be able to say, but you tell us this. But you never get in most of the coaches, they don't scared. they give themselves an exit door to say, if this way, I'm going to exit this way. And it's unfortunate because they get away with it. Nobody could have said that Brazil was going to lose 7-1. Now it will tell us about the genius of the Germans, what after the 7-1. You see? And that's why I say I have a problem. I need to be helped, Mr. Kekani. I need to be helped. Give us what we don't see. Don't give us a match commentary that we all see. Now, because you've seen this, now we are seeing it, now give us a reason. Give us what you don't see. Educate us, empower us. We are not coaches. Then say, I must go and correct this. Because what are the things they say, people, when I examine it, but I don't think this is true. This is footwork. But I can't say it because of respect. So that's what I've experienced. Maybe other people have experienced differently. I still want to see some of the commentators, they see that they tell us things before. They dissect the selection, say, this team's not going to win because of this reason. That's why it was 500-1 chance of Leicester City winning the league, because nobody gave it a chance. But towards the end, everyone was saying, no, this coach, what. But this coach, look where he is now. So I leave it to you for conclusion. The last one. This gentleman has never asked a question there at the back there.
Chairman Len Moleko from ANN7. I just wanted to find out, earlier on you mentioned fair education. Do you feel that if maybe the PSL had to make Orlando Pirates play behind closed doors for, say, 2 or 3 games, that could go a long way in educating fans that behind every action of the way the fans acted on Saturday, there's a reaction and people need to be punished that way?
Well, I don't know, because there was an incident of this nature in Port Elizabeth. I don't know what was the sanction there. And there was an incident of the same nature of Sundowns, where the coach was escorted by police. I don't know what was the corrective measure, so I can't pronounce here now today in the knee-jerk. So if ever there were other, examples, that were followed, if they worked, let's examine those. So I can't make pronouncements sitting here, because not an easy solution, but, education of fans is also important. But I think we've gone past that stage, and that's why I mentioned the issues where supporters are sitting together, that you must be able to contain your anger, because the anger doesn't stop here. It goes right into your house. It becomes your way of life of resolving things. But Diva gave us the tasters, of saying, I don't care how big is the problem, it can be resolved. That's why we've got a negotiated settlement in this country. So we should be priding ourselves that whatever problem, how big, let's find a way of resolving it. Without resorting to violence. Because this thing is self-feeding. It's self-feeding. You can see now what is happening in the country. Everybody the police are not there, they resort to this. They resort to this. So, but if education is a solution in those precedents, with the DC. So I can make pronouncements after the matter has gone out of the DC and make pronouncement on this matter. Thank you very much. I want to have the last one, Mr. Josie.
Chairman, the issue, just to go back to the issue of the players and the coaching, we've seen in the previous season Kaizer Chiefs getting rid of about 15 of their players. Are we likely to see the chairman doing that at Orlando Pirates in the near future or the far distant future, just to realign the team back to where he wants it to be? And the second one, openly, Benny McCarthy has actually made it clear that he would love to be part of the Orlando Pirates technical team. What's the chairman's take on that?
Which 15 did they chase? And what age were?
I'm not sure about their ages, Chairman.
No, you should know as a media guy, you should know.
Yes.
And whether they were in the starting lineup or not.
Well, most of them were not, but apart from the likes of Abu Kaka and others who were having disputes.
Kaka, there's a dispute still with Kaka, so let's not go there. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. No, well, I mean, the issues of coaches, I mean, people, they apply, you know. I mean, you know, he has never spoken to us. You know, if ever he's a coach, you know, that is going to be the one revealed on Monday, so be it, you know. So, I mean, you know, he played a very important part when he came and play, you know, in that last treble. You know, he was a stabilizing factor, you know, with his experience. So, obviously, if ever he meets the criteria, we'll defer to him, you know, if ever is a solution. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone wants? No, let's move from the